Hello and welcome to the Abundantly Favored podcast, where faith meets mindset, gratitude fuels growth, and your words shape your world. We're your hosts, Jenny and Shelley, two sisters, wives, moms, and lifelong encouragers who believe God has richly equipped you to live an abundant life.
Each week, we dive into real conversations about mindset, faith, purpose, and the power of speaking life. Whether you're in the car, on a walk, or curled up with coffee, consider this your weekly dose of encouragement.
Abundantly favored, walking in grace, carried by mercy, held in His place. Abundantly favored, chosen and free, overflowing with love for all to see.
Hello and welcome back to our podcast.
Hello, everyone. We are so happy you are joining us again today. We have a
Yes.
very, very special guest on with us today for this
Yes.
Mother's Day episode. Our mom, Carol.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank
Yes.
you. I am happy and honored to be here with my two of my lovely daughters. I actually have three, but I'm with two of them today.
Yes.
That's
Okay, so we are
right.
so excited to dive in. So if you've listened to us before, you know that we always start with a Bible verse. So the Bible verse that Shelley and I selected for today is Proverbs chapter 31, verse 28. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. So we thought
Very
that was
fitting.
a fitting. Yes, absolutely. We probably should have asked what your favorite Bible verse was, but we wanted to make sure it fit the Mother's Day theme. So maybe in another episode we'll let you share that, Mom.
Okay, I have lots of them.
Yes. Okay, we are going to dive right in, and you not only have a large family with children, 6 kids, but you are one of 8 kids yourself. So just tell us a little bit about that, where you are in the lineup, and how things looked with your childhood, with the 8 siblings.
Okay, well, I'm the oldest of 8. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers, and I think the oldest one is often kind of bossy because we have lots of chores to do, and I remember folding lots of diapers because we always had a baby in the house.
Yes. So
Right.
wait a
And this was
minute.
before the days of
Baby
Pampers, throw them away.
closet
Tell
Yes.
them about that.
Yes.
So are you starting the podcast saying that you may have been a bossy older sister?
Probably.
Hey,
Yes,
Sorry. Okay.
because
hey
I
there.
was often put in charge, had to help mom take care of them. And yeah, I guess I probably was. But we had a lot of love and we had a lot of fun too. I'm 3 years older than my next sibling, my sister, and there are 17 years between me and my youngest sibling, my sister Lisa. So there were 8 kids in 17 years. And
Let's give a shout out to each of your siblings. So you're the oldest, Carol
list, and then Diane, and then
is 3
Kent,
years younger than you.
younger, and then Kent is a year and a half younger than Diane, and then Connie. Okay, you're going to test me now. I think Connie's a couple years younger than Kent. It kind of went 2 years apart after that. Connie, then Jane, then Greg, Kathy, and Lisa. So
Nice.
approximately 2 years between some of those. 18
Yeah.
months between a couple of them. So.
So, being the oldest of 8, I'm sure you had, in lots of ways, you were kind of like the mother, but was there one younger sibling that gave you the most trouble growing up?
The real little ones, not really, I don't think. The youngest ones were just toddlers when I left home, when I graduated from high school. Probably Diane, the one next to me, we probably fought the most.
Weird.
Just,
Weird.
yeah. And then it was a brother and then younger sisters. So not really. I don't think we got along okay. But you know how siblings that are close together and we're both supposed to be doing dishes and she always had to go to the bathroom. So then We'd be washing dishes and they'd just be piling up waiting for her to come and dry them. And anyway, yeah, we had good times, but that's how I would
Boy, we
describe it.
can't relate at all, can we,
No,
Jenny?
Oh,
Not at
not
no.
at
all.
all. So, Mom, what's one memory, and you probably have several, but one memory from your childhood that still makes you smile?
Oh boy. You mean at home, at school? Where do you
Yeah,
want me to go?
whatever. And I want to preface it with this that we did not give her the list of questions because we want this to be just like off the cuff and the first
Yes.
thing you think of. And, you might say something and then after we're done recording, say, well, I should have said this, but that's okay because we know there's more than one. So is there one that either from growing up in a big family or from school or because I know you went to Catholic school?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
just something that makes you smile.
Well, Christmas was always special. We didn't have much, 8 kids, and dad was a blue collar worker, and mom stayed home with the kids. So we didn't have a lot, but Christmas was always special. And mom and dad always made sure we had something. And I remember we would go to midnight mass. And when we came home, Santa had always been there. So we'd get to open our Santa gifts, or actually, they never wrapped them. They'd just be sitting out by the tree. So we'd see what we got from Santa. And until I was probably 10 years old, it was always a new doll. And my sister and I
Oh.
always got new dolls. And then there might be one or two gifts under the tree that we could open the next day. But Christmas was always special. Um, it just was a real close family time where everyone just seemed so full of love and joy and midnight mass. That was always special to me.
Mm.
What
Boy,
was
to keep all those kids awake for midnight mass must have, did you guys take naps beforehand or?
I think we were supposed to, but whether we ever slept, I don't know.
Shelley,
Yeah.
that was probably part of the strategy, thinking they'd sleep through it so they'd be good.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. I think sometimes either mom would usually stay home if we had a baby, she might stay home with the baby and then dad would take the rest of us kids to church. Um, I don't always remember all of that, but yeah, I'm sure some of the younger ones did fall asleep probably.
Yes, yes. So thinking back to growing up, what do you think, what is something that your parents taught you without you even realizing it that helped how you raised us?
I think they taught us to always be honest, always do your best, be kind, and yeah, if you don't have something good to say about someone, don't say anything at all. And I don't know, just a lot of those little things that I think without even realizing it by their example and the things they said. And of course, going to Catholic school too, we got a lot of that taught to us there. But
Mhm.
um, did I answer your question? What are,
Yeah, yeah,
or if-
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So,
yes,
Shelley,
you
I'm
did.
shifting gears on this next question a little bit because we have
Sure.
these questions written up. So, I know Catholic school was really important to you. Was there a favorite nun that you had growing up, or maybe one that, I mean, I assume they're not still living, so one that maybe wasn't so nice?
Probably my favorite was Sister Mary Antoinette. She was the first music teacher I had. She taught me piano lessons, and she's the one, I think I was in third or fourth grade. She took me to the church and taught me to play the big pipe organ. And I
Oh,
was
wow.
too short to reach the pedals, so I never did learn to reach or play the pedals. But she was one I really loved. She was very pious and sweet and very young. I look back now and I think, I bet she was probably in her early 20s is all.
Mhm.
But anyway,
Wow.
and then another one I really liked was our seventh grade teacher. She was so much fun. She'd play softball with us when we'd go out for recess. Sister Mary Robert, she'd stuff her veil back in her belt behind her and roll up her sleeves and she would play softball with us. And she was funny. She would crack jokes and things. So those were two of the favorites. And um, I was always a good girl and a good student, so I didn't have any, you hear the horror stories about the nuns slapping your hands with a ruler and all that. That never happened because I was too scared to do anything wrong, and I was a pretty good student, so I never got in trouble. So I have only good memories of my Catholic school days.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That's awesome. Okay, we're going to shift gears a little bit to how you and dad first met and what you first thought of him. So tell us kind of how you even met each other and first
Okay.
impressions.
Well, it was a blind date that I really didn't want to go on, but I thought, oh, what can happen in just one date? I can do this. It was family friends, I guess. Yeah, our parents were good friends, and one of their daughters and I were in the same class, and they had invited our family out for a picnic supper on the 4th of July. And this friend, Lynn, my classmate, had a date with my future husband's brother. And she said, "Why don't you go on a double date with us? We'll go to the Wright County stock car races." I said, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know." And oh, come on. He's a really nice guy. So, anyway, I went on this blind date with Larry, my now husband. And I think
Ooh.
maybe he was more infatuated with me at first and I with him. But he just kept calling and I kept going out with him, and the rest is history.
Okay, well,
Aw.
that
See what years
answers,
later.
yes, that answers my question, but I'm going to tweak it a little bit then because my question was who made the first move? Well, it sounds like he was after you more than you were after him. In
I guess.
the book, we one of the things we say at the beginning is that you thought the convent was your calling until you met dad on a blind date. So tell us more about that, or did we make that up?
Well, I thought about it because when you go to Catholic school, the sisters are always encouraging all the girls to really think about that, really think about that. So I thought about it some, and this summer, I think between my sophomore and junior year, two of the sisters took us to their mother house or convent in Cedar Rapids. There were three girls and two sisters who went, and I was kind of impressed. All the young gals there were who were training to be sisters were so kind and loving, and they just seemed so full of joy and happiness. And I hadn't really dated much in high school, and I wanted to be a teacher, so I thought, maybe this is a good fit for me." So I didn't think seriously, but it was always in the back of my mind. Well, then the summer between my junior and senior years when I met your dad, and then as things progressed in our relationship, I kind of forgot about being a nun.
Ah.
So that's kind of how that went. But my faith has always been important to me. I've always been strong in my faith. And so that's just was back then especially kind of a natural for a girl to think about if she was like that.
Okay, so I think this is the first time I heard you say that you thought you wanted to be a teacher. So that
I
didn't
know.
happen. So was meeting dad because I know you know because he's 3 years older than you are. So your senior year of high school, was he in the military at that time?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
So how did that, I guess that my question in asking that is, so how did you go from I want to be a teacher to, because you went to AIB, College
Mhm.
of Business.
Right. Well, before I started high school, my parents told me, "We don't have enough money to send you to college." I was the oldest of eight, and I don't know if they didn't have grants and scholarship. I don't know what loans and student loans, but anyway, they just said, "Take all the business courses you can take in high school so you can get a secretarial job when you get out of school, because we don't have money to send you to college." So that's what I did. Well, then my senior year in high school, one of my business teachers really encouraged me to go further. He said, "Carol, it's a shame you can't go to college. You really, can't your," and I said, "Well, we can't afford it." "Well, wouldn't your parents even co-sign a loan or a note for you to go 1 year to a business school?" So I asked mom and dad if they would do that, and they said they would. So that's kind of how it went from being a teacher, and maybe wanting to be a teacher was more in my elementary years too, or maybe till I knew I couldn't go to college, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
anyway, then that's kind of how that all changed. Did I answer your question?
Nice.
Did I get
Yeah.
off track?
Nope,
Yes,
you did.
yes.
Okay.
So back to dad, then how did you know when he was the one or that he was the one?
Well, we dated through my senior year and that summer, and then when I went to AIB then in Des Moines that fall for business school. and he joined the military. He was about to be drafted, but he joined the Air Force instead in November, I think. And I really missed him. I thought, oh, I really miss him. Well, then in over my Christmas break, his parents went to Texas to visit him. He was at basic training, Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, and they asked if I wanted to go along. So I did. So then when I saw him again, I thought, oh yeah, he's the one. He's the one.
Aw.
And maybe even before that, I thought that. But anyway, we ended up getting engaged. He
That trip.
that trip, yes,
Wow.
yes. So
Well, it's
and
a
that,
pretty
Wow.
good thing that you had those feelings. Otherwise, he would have proposed and you would have said,
Right.
yeah,
and if you ask him, he'll say, "I asked him." So be
Oh.
prepared. And he's told you that. Well, she asked me, so.
no. I
Did you
I
get
don't
down on
remember
one
that.
knee, Mom, and ask him?
Oh golly. But anyway, so then we got married in June then because he had a leave coming up in June, and that's when we got married.
Oh,
So you guys were married June 26th, 1965. So this summer will be your 61st wedding anniversary. So
Yeah.
we would be doing an injustice to all the married couples out there if we didn't ask you one piece of marriage advice that you would give us or the people listening as well.
I think that's maybe changed over the years, but I've always heard this, and you have to don't let the sun set on your anger. So we always, if we had fought or just had a bad day, we'd always tell each other we loved each other and apologize before we went to sleep at night. And then in more recent years, we pray together every day. And I think, that sign or slogan, families that pray together stay together. I think that works for couples too. So
mhm.
as we've both grown in our faith, we always pray together every morning. And I think that's a good way to make a marriage last too.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to switch gears and get into motherhood now. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, Jen, do you want to start us out
Yeah,
there?
okay. So,
Okay.
what do you remember most about becoming a mom for the first time? And I know being from a big family, one of 8 kids, did you know you wanted a lot of kids? So, I'm kind of asking two questions. Did you know you wanted a lot of kids? And what was it like being a mom for the first time?
Okay. I guess I really never thought about wanting a lot of kids. I just knew I wanted kids. But the first one, Chris, our firstborn, actually was born when your dad was overseas in Okinawa after we were married. We'd been married 9 or 10 months, and he got sent to Okinawa. And I was like 3 months pregnant and
Mm.
barely pregnant. And he had to be over there 18 months. So if you do the math, Chris was almost a year old when he got home. So I was without him that first year of Chris's life. I was thrilled to be a mother. I lived at home with my parents and I moved back in with them after your dad had to go overseas. So I had lots of help. All my younger siblings were enthralled with him, and so I had a lot of help. So it probably wasn't the same as being all alone, with my first baby because my mom was there and everything. So, so yes, it was great. And then as each one came along, you think, how can I love the next one more than I want? But there's always love for each one that comes along. So,
Right. Were you
um,
ever scared or unsure? I remember the first time when I had Hannah and you came down and stayed with me for a week. And I remember bringing the car seat in, setting it on this little card table we have, and looking up at everyone and said, now what? Like, just like it was so overwhelming. Like, I am now responsible for this tiny human. And,
yes.
it's like it was a little terrifying. Having you there was wonderful because just gave me the reassurance. And so were there ever times like that where you were thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not sure how I'm going to handle this?
Oh, sure, because it is such an awesome responsibility. You've got this new little life that you are responsible for. So I had many moments like that too. And I probably called my mom on occasion too. But like I say, with my first one, I was living with mom and dad. So she was right there. And I remember I was trying to breastfeed Chris, and he was a big baby. He was almost 10 pounds. And I just didn't have enough milk, evidently. And he was crying and he wasn't sleeping through the night. And my mom said, "You need to switch him to the bottle. I don't think this little guy's getting enough to eat." Sure enough, I switched him to the bottle and he started sleeping through the night. So,
Aw.
and I just thought, I have to do this. I can't give up. This is supposed to be the best way. But
Hmm.
thanks to my mom, who was wiser than I, she said, he's not getting enough. So,
Yes. And
and
made you feel like it was okay to do that then.
yes, right, right.
Hmm.
So
Good.
then I bottle fed the next
Yeah.
3, I think, and then, went back to that for the last couple, but
Yeah.
anyway.
So I know you had an awesome mom, our grandma Donna.
Mhm.
What kind of mom did you want to be? Did you learn things from her or just have any other role models or
Um, of course, I wanted to be the best mom I could be, but, I was young. I was probably pretty immature myself yet when I became a mom because I was 20, I think, when Chris was born. Or was I? Yeah, I would have been 20. Yeah. And nowadays, most moms are a little older than that. So I just of course, I wanted to be a good mom. I wanted to do everything right. And um, I forgot your question, I think.
no, you're answering it like what kind of
Yeah.
mom? Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to
Hmm.
be the best mom. I wanted to be a kind, loving Christian mom. Um, you
And you
know,
were.
Yes, you
well,
You
nailed
were.
it.
I don't know. We all look back and think, I wish I would have done this or that differently, but that's because we're human.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We do that too, for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
What was the hardest part about those early years, being the young mom? And I know dad wasn't around that first year, and you
Mhm.
did have help from your family and siblings and everything. But even beyond that, when you had Andy and then me and then Jenny, you had four kids in,
Yeah.
kind of not boom, boom, boom. I mean, there was a little bit of some stretch, but after Chris and Andy, then Jenny and I, we were like every couple of years. So
Yeah.
what was it like those early years, especially when you had the first four and then you had ended up having two more?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it was stressful, as you all both know. You have children. You remember just trying to keep up with the housework, keep up with the laundry, the cooking. And then as they got a little older and started fighting and tattling, and I remember your brothers used to pick on you girls so much.
Oh,
Yes,
we remember.
You'd
we
come
didn't forget.
battling and so just the normal chaos that goes on in all families. I think you just have
Hmm.
to learn to you just deal with it, I guess. I there were days I dealt with it better than others, but uh, anyway, yeah, you just pray and you do the best you can, and yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, that's good. That's perfect. So your family, between the oldest and youngest, was a 17-year age span. The same with us, between Chris and Joe, 17-year age span. And I know, I remember you telling the story when Joey was born and you were in the hospital. Do you want to share what one of the nurses said?
Yeah. She brought him in to me the first time after they'd bathed him and everything, and she said, "Do you realize how old you're going to be when this little one graduates from high school?" I said, "Yes, I do. I'll be 56." And it's like, I really thought about that. And I thought, oh my gosh,
Aw.
I don't know, it just kind of hit me funny. I thought, yeah, so is that so bad?
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
So are you telling me I can return him because I don't want to be 56 when he graduates from high
Oh,
school?
it's just like she was amazed
He
that
kept you young.
pardon?
Yeah, kept you
Yeah.
young for sure.
Yes, kept me young. That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
remember, Shelley, when right after you were born, we had two boys, and then Grandpa Bailey always said, the Baileys don't have girls, so don't expect any daughters,
Oh,
any girls. If we have, and there, he was right. There were more boys than girls in the Bailey family. But so when you were born, Shelley, I thought, oh yes, I do get a daughter. I do get,
aw,
and then I
aw. Am I the
remember,
golden child?
Just what she needs. Great.
Sounds like I was pretty special, huh?
Oh boy. And then, but I remember
Special.
praying. Now, thank you, Lord, but the only thing that could make this more perfect would be for Shelley to have a little sister. And there she came.
Aw, there's Jenny.
17, 21 months later, I think, or how old, how much difference? I think 21 months later,
Yeah.
I think
there
so, yes.
came Jennifer Ann, her little sister.
The sweetest thing
Here
that
we are
ever could
today.
have happened to her.
I'm so blessed. And then two more later on that were like our little
Yes,
baby
there was
dolls, Angie and Joe.
a space in
Yeah.
between number 4 and number 5. And then, yeah, kind of I won't call them tag-alongs, but they're, each one is a blessing, and you think, most people would say we have 2 boys and 2 girls, a perfect family, but we just thought, if God wants to give us more, we'll take more. So then we were blessed with Angie and Joe.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
That's so
Love
fun.
it.
Well, we're going to switch gears a little bit, kind of not really, but just talking about raising those 6 kids, real life chaos, we will call it. So, yeah.
Yeah. How did you? So, I mean, I know for many of the years that you had us, you were a stay-at-home mom, and then you ended up becoming a librarian at a local library. But how did you manage a household with 6 kids when you were a stay-at-home mom, and then when you actually were a working mom too? Like, what did you do? Were there things that you had in place or systems, or like, how did you do it?
You kids helped me.
Okay.
The first job I had at a very small library, the Rowan Library, I think we were only open 13 hours a week, so it was very part-time, and then eventually opened 20 hours a week. I was there 5.5 years, but Jenny, I think that's why you like to cook. You like to cook, so you would help get the supper ready, and Shelley, you love to bake, so you would do that. And then, yeah, I probably always had a list for you girls to do when you got home.
Yes,
Oh,
you
yes, you
did.
did.
These clothes or yeah, whatever. But so yeah, a lot of help from my kids. And I wasn't always the most organized person, but we made it through, one regret I have, and this is advice to all young moms, I worried too much about keeping my house looking nice and clean and everything, and probably didn't play with my kids as much as I should have. And that is one regret. So they grow up so fast, cherish those years, and just spend time with them. And not that I didn't do any of that, but I think I worried too much about outward appearances or what people would think if they dropped by and my house was a mess. You know what I mean? So,
And we
Yeah.
had each other. I mean, we had
Yes.
siblings. Like we had built-in playmates
That's
with
true.
all of the
That's
kids.
true.
Yes.
And
And
yeah.
times were different too. It was go play outside and don't come back inside until it's mealtime. So yeah,
Right.
get out of
And
the
you
house.
like to do that. You like to play outside. And
Yes.
you live 10, 11 miles out in the country, so you were creative. You made your own fun. You didn't get to spend your summers going to the pool and the park and all those things. You had to make your own fun with each other. So, and you were good about doing that.
Yeah.
That is
Well, I
true.
know I remember the whole when you started working at the Rowan Public Library. I think I was in either 5th or 6th grade because Shelley had junior high sports. So I would come home off the bus and there would be like a dish with a recipe. And that was my job when I got home. I had to make the meal and I loved it. And I think you're right. I think that's why I do love to cook. But it only made sense that I do it because I was the oldest that was coming home off the bus after school.
Right, right. And I think Joe, let's see, Joe was at the babysitter, so you didn't have him then. I'd bring him home uh, after that. But you had Angie, and of course, she was always so easy, wasn't she? She wasn't really a problem. She was
Yeah,
very,
little
very
Angie.
Yeah.
Although
Easygoing.
I will say, because I was the baby, and then 5 years later, she came along, and
Oh,
she kind of rained on my parade. Like, I mean, really.
cramped your style.
I'm sure.
But we love her now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Yes.
And I do have to tell one more story of, I think maybe we talked about this on a different podcast, or we're going to, Shelley. when you told us that you were pregnant with
Oh, we
Joe,
did. Hmm.
I remember being so excited for 2 seconds until Chris, the oldest, was like,
Back
"What?"
up, Jenny. You better back up. You made it sound like Shelley was pregnant with Joe. I remember Shelley when you told us you were pregnant with Joe.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Let's back
no,
up. Shelley's not Joe's mother.
No.
no.
So when mom told us, I remember we were in the kitchen of our old farmhouse. So when you told us, mom, that you were pregnant with Joe, is that better? Is that more clear?
That's
Yes.
better. Yes. I didn't catch
I
it. I was just nodding. Oh, yes, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Well, I was so excited for literally like 2 seconds, and then Chris flipped out because he was 16 at the time, and then my mood totally changed. Like, wait a minute, yeah, really? Like, what? What do you mean this baby? Although inside, I think I was kind of like, oh my gosh, that baby, that's great.
Well, I think because the older ones of us, like me and then Andy and Chris, were starting to get into the teenage years. I was like just getting there thinking, there goes my social life. We are going to have to be at home babysitting all the time. We're not going to be able to go to our friend's house because she's going to need us to babysit. And we thought we were out of that stage. And now we love Joe, of course. But
Of course,
yeah,
yeah.
I was
Okay, so
probably
we're
on the
gonna
team. What? And you were on team. Yay.
Yeah, but I had to switch in because it's like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to think like that. So, okay, so we're going to switch gears now, and I know this is going to be something you're going to love to talk about. So, we're going to switch gears into faith because we heard a lot. Yes, one of 6 kids. We didn't have a lot either, but God will provide. So, how did your faith guide you through motherhood?
Oh boy. I don't know how I could have done it if I didn't have strong faith. There were days when you kids were being extra naughty. I would just go up to my bedroom, shut the door, kneel down by the bed, and just say, Lord, help me. Give me patience. Help me to get through this day. But otherwise, just prayer, my prayer life was always important. We always went to church, as you told about in the book. And I think just knowing that God was always there with me and he was just a prayer away, and he'd give me help to do whatever I faced that day. And I've
So
always had a devotion to our Blessed Mother Mary and the Rosary and prayers like that too. So yeah, I think that really did help me in being a
what I'm
mother.
hearing you say is thanks to your naughty kids, it brought you closer to the Lord. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I make it sound like you were so terrible all the time. You
No,
were
we were.
We
We know
weren't.
we were.
We weren't. Maybe some of the others were,
Well,
but
just
right.
not us. Not us.
typical kids.
We
Yeah.
never fought, right? We never fought.
Especially in a big family, I think. I've talked to friends who had one or two kids, and they didn't seem to have as much trouble with kids fighting but I think, well, yeah, but you didn't have very many either. You
Yeah.
get a brood of them together, it
That's
makes a
true.
difference.
Like when you sent us to our room, we had to share it with one or two other people, so the fighting just continued, right?
Probably.
Yes. So, Mom, we talk a lot in our book and on this podcast about flipping the script. If you're thinking negative thoughts, how can you flip them? So, what are some thoughts that you have had to flip over the years? Maybe you used to think one way and then you're like, no, that's not true. I need to start thinking this way. Can you think of any examples of that?
Oh, I'm doing a much better job of that more recently. I don't know that I was always so good about that in the past, but I think probably just knowing that God will provide, don't be doom and gloom if you wonder how am I going to pay the bills. God will provide. And your dad was good about that too. If I would worry, he'd say, God will provide. We will eat. We will have what we
Mhm.
need. We might not have everything we want, but we will have what we need. So trusting in that and being more positive about that and flipping the switch oh boy, you're putting me on the spot here now.
That's okay.
Yeah.
If you
I,
don't have one for that, that's okay.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm more conscious of it now since you wrote your book because I
Awesome.
hadn't thought about it as much as I do now. So
That's
That's
awesome.
great.
You kind of already answered this question too, but looking back, what would you tell yourself as a mom, your younger self? what would you tell your younger self as a mom?
They grow up so fast. You know, when they're all toddlers, you think, will these kids ever go to school and get their life? So I get a break. But then once they're in school, those years just fly by. So cherish every stage of life, whether it's the diapers, the toddlerhood, the four-year-olds. I always said were my favorite because they were so curious and so innocent yet, but just cherish every stage of their life and do as much with them as you can, and praise them more. I was pretty quick to criticize and be a little too demanding, maybe. I would say support your kids in a positive way as much as you can and discipline with love.
Good answers, Mom. Good
Hmm.
answers. So we're going to switch to grandma life now.
Oh, okay.
And we just want to know, how is being a grandma different from being a mom?
Okay. I think first of all, you mellow out and you think they're really not my responsibility, you know. So, and you always, I'm very fortunate that all of my kids are good moms, good dads. So I really don't have much to worry about in that respect. But it's just nice knowing that I can enjoy them without having the responsibility of how they turn out, I guess. And I just have a regret that none of them live really close to me. I envy these moms where they live in the same town or
Mm.
10, 15 minutes away, where they can see them more often and spend more time with them so the kids really get to know their grandparents. I feel like maybe they don't get to know us and we don't get to know them as much
Mm.
as we like. But it's wonderful. I love all of my grandkids. I'm so proud of each and every one of them for their own uniqueness and for different reasons. So grandparenting is awesome and so rewarding.
Well, this is kind of along the same lines, same grandma question as well. So, 18 grandkids, they love you so much. What do you hope your grandkids remember about you years down the road when you're gone?
I hope they remember I was a prayer warrior. I'm going to cry now, but
Oh,
Oh,
I
and we're
remember
all crying.
how much I love them and how much I prayed for them, which they probably aren't even aware of, but how much I do care about them and what's going on in their lives. I want them to know that I love them, I prayed for them, and just to be good Christian people. I want them. I hope they saw that in me and that they will want that for themselves.
Ugh,
that's
not a dry
awesome.
eye in the studios here.
I know.
Oh, that was beautiful, Mom. We know how much you've prayed for us and for our kids, and we can't tell you how much that has meant to us and the peace that it gives us too. So, whew, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
Tears all over my glasses.
That's okay.
And
Um,
that's what I hope my legacy is to them and to all of you, I guess.
Mm,
yeah, that's
absolutely.
amazing. That's beautiful. I don't even know if we need to ask these other questions, Jen. That was like a great place to. Are there any other ones
Yes.
you want to answer or
Well,
ask?
I would just say, that is such an awesome way to end it. Like maybe one final question that's maybe fitting since we are two of your daughters. What do you hope we carry forward as your daughters?
Oh boy. Same thing, I guess, that
Hmm.
you always keep your faith and that you live it. This book is so good and is such to me a testimony of your faith. Your faith is stronger than I even realized, but I am so impressed with your book. And I guess I just want for all my children, I want us all to be in heaven together someday. So just live your life in such a way, trusting in Jesus, that we will all be together for a big, glorious reunion someday in heaven.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I think we need to end on more of a lighter note.
Okay.
Um, and maybe this won't be lighter. And if you don't have an answer, just say skip it. But one last question before we share a little bit more information about you is what's a story you love telling but don't get asked about?
Oh boy, a story I love telling but don't get asked about.
if you can't think of one, I've got one that I remember.
Okay, yeah.
This isn't probably going to fit the question at all, but
Right now, I'm stumped. So
yeah.
go.
Okay. So one thing I remember from our childhood. So we lived on a gravel road, and I don't know if you guys know what I'm going to tell right
Oh
now.
my gosh.
We always passed this farm that had cows, and
Oh,
mom does the best cow moo, and we would always beg her to do it. And she's looking at me
does.
right now, shaking her head like,
do it.
don't. I mean, it was so good. You want to give it a whirl?
no, because the last time I did, you said, "Mom, you've lost it. You can't do it anymore."
Oh, it was so fun. So many childhood memories for sure. And one thing before oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to say you'll have to learn that and do that in my place.
Well, I tried doing it once. It's
Oh,
not
we
as
tried.
good.
There's just there's nobody that can do it like you.
No,
Should have
no.
recorded it.
No, but one thing we want to tell everyone is so when the weekend that we celebrated our mom's 80th birthday, Shelly's daughter Hannah talked her into creating a TikTok account. So you can
And it's
find
amazing.
our mom, Grandma Carol, on TikTok at grandma.carol53. She does so many great things. Her tagline, she always ends every video with, and remember, Jesus loves you. And it's so sweet. She does Mug Mondays. She does Thoughtful Thursdays, I think. But we're not going to tell you too much about it because we want you to go check her out and discover how awesome she is on her own. And I'm sure she would even take requests. I don't know. We'll see. But you can figure it out and see if you would. Is there anything else you want to close with, Mom?
Oh, I just want to say I am blessed to be a mother. I just thank God that He blessed me with motherhood. And not only that, but I have the six best kids in the whole wide world. So I am so thankful, and I'm proud of each and every one of them for their own reasons. But right now, I'm especially proud of Shelley and Jenny because of the book they've written. And I know you're aware of that book, or I hope you are. If not, I'm going to put a plug in for it. Wait, did I say that? Or wait, did I pray that? So
And where can they find those books?
they can find those books at Amazon.com.
There you
Nice.
go. Thank you. Mom, we have loved having you on. We will have Dad on for Father's Day as well. But thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you know how much we love you. And for those of you listening, if you enjoyed this episode, found value in this episode, please share it with your friends and family. You can follow us, like my mom said. You can get our book at where she mentioned. Follow us on all of our social media and make sure you can go to our website, abundantlyfavored.com. And
Yeah, I'm jumping in here, Shelly, because since it is
great.
Mother's Day week, I just want to make sure all the mothers out there know how loved they are. Even if you're in a season where you may not feel that way right now, just know that you, especially mothers, are abundantly favored, and so is everyone else listening. So have a great week.
Have a great week, everyone. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks for having me on, girls. I really have
Oh,
fun.
we loved
You're
it.
welcome. We love you.
We love you. I love you too.